what I found that Colourpuncture is just the first step. And very often this is the only step. For example, if you use Colourpuncture for physical complaint and you do Colourpuncture and then your complaint resolves, this is beautiful. You don't have to come back to it. You maybe will need to maintain it like once a year or something like that. If obviously condition was more severe, then you would need some, more regular maintenance, so on. But with a physical condition, Colourpuncture works really good and really clear. You have a resolution of your complaint, hopefully, if the strategy is right, if your body have capacity, and so on. Peter Mendel has a wonderful book called Sense and Nonsense of Sickness and Pain. And the premise of the book is, if we are who we are, coming back to identity question, if we are living our own identity, if we are living our own potential, because sometimes we can live our identity, but not to the full potential. Sometimes we can develop a huge potential, but this is not quite our identity. And then we need to be on the path. So basically, he said, when you have a firm identity and you're working on developing your full potential, because nobody ever lives to their full potential unless they put it as a goal, right? Because we tend to live more or less day by day, unless we are specifically trained to develop our potential and so on, but normally we don't. And obviously then we need to discover our path. And very often our path is connected with our identity. It's a reflection. The person is a noun, the path is a verb, so to speak. We act, we heal, we dance, we write. So my idea was, with certain situation, when the condition, for example, is not physical, but condition is more psychological, we're talking more about conflict resolution, all those things. And even if when condition is physical, but for whatever reasons, it doesn't resolve, there is a therapy resistance, I would always start talking to people and asking them around what it is happening in their life. In general, what they are not happy about, what their biggest disbalance at the moment is, how they see themselves, how self-realized they are, how clear they are on their identity, how happy they are with the past, and so on. And then at some point I thought, why don't we start from the opposite end? Instead of trying to treat people from something that they already developed because they are not with identity, not follow their full potential, not working on realizing their full potential, I have no idea of the path. Why don't we start from opposite end? Why don't we start figuring out those things first, and also as early in life as possible? And then we know for sure that we are who we are working on our potential, and we are walking our path. And then even if you get a disease or illness or whatever, because we all do at some points, because there are constitutional weaknesses and so on, there are situational unhappiness, something is going on, then we tend to cope with this disease or illness or problem or pain much, much quicker. And I really saw it with my patients. So when I come a patient who is really living out their potential, they're clearly on their path, very often they knew it from the very childhood, or they found it quite early, or there was some dramatic events in their life which really forced them to fully find their identity and develop themselves and follow the path and so on. So these people tend to recover quicker, and they tend to come back in even better capacity to their original path, and they strengthen their sense of self and so on. But they come a person who has no idea about identity. Very often this is somebody who was heavily shaped by parents, by society, by culture, very problematic childhood or very good childhood, which forever put an idea of how things should be. And then, of course, they grow up and life does not live to their expectations. That happens too. So if those things happen, then the process is much more difficult, because not only we are trying to heal a physical disease, but we are trying to answer this question, why in the first place there was some loss of their sense of self, some loss of their identity and so on. And this is how I created the whole thing.